This is ABC15 Mornings.
We've seen it day after day here in Arizona. Long lines of cars waiting for their coronavirus test. We will tell you where and when today's events are happening.
And first it was gyms in the valley. Now over 20 bars are filing a lawsuit against the governor after he shut them down last week.
Also, student athletes wondering if they're going to have a season this fall. The AIA announcing their tentative plans for high school sports. This is going to be big for families and for those students. I know in my house, our teenager has missed sports the most when they switch to online learning. So we'll get to that in just moments. But first, we say good morning to you. Glad to see you on this Saturday. I'm Nohelani Graff.
And I'm Mark Thompson, social distancing from home. And no, hey, I used to play high school football, and this would not be one of those days that I'd be looking forward to those two-a-day practices before the season starts. Just way too hot.
Yeah, two-a-days work a little differently here in the Valley of the Sun, and they certainly would have been on hold right now because it is a weather action day here at ABC 15, as we do see everywhere in that hot pink under an excessive heat warning, and that is in effect across the valley, the central and southern Arizona deserts through Monday. Also, you can see down to the southeast there near Gila Bend, we are seeing just some sprinkles, some scattered rain activity. I don't think that kicks into the valley, but it is picking up our breezes. It is going to be very hot. This weekend is going to be the worst of what we've seen so far. 115 today. That could tie the record that was set back in 2020. Tomorrow will be the hottest day of the forecast, 117. That record likely to fall because it was 115 set back in 2009. And the dangerous combo here are these sizzling hot evenings that start with very warm mornings, already starting today off in the mid 90s, 95 degrees right now in the Phoenix metro. I will walk you through our warm up hour by hour, but also show you who could be expecting some rain chances today. That's coming up in just minutes. First, we want to get to some breaking news at this hour. Phoenix firefighters searching for a man who they believe fell into a lake near 35th Avenue and Baseline. Crews are on scene right now trying to locate that man. Officials do tell us that their efforts, though, have moved from a search and rescue operation. They now believe this is a recovery effort. You can see the crime scene tape is up, and they're likely to start bringing in divers as well. We will update you as we learn more right here on ABC 15 Mornings.
All right, no, hey, thank you for that. And now to the coronavirus. Arizona approaching 117,000 reported cases, and several sites they're going to be offering some testing if you want to get tested today. And we've got some information on that for you here. First, ASU launching a new free saliva-based testing program, and their first event is today from 8 o'clock until noon. That's at Ak-Chin Pavilion in West Phoenix. Also today, the city of Phoenix hosting its own free testing event starting just minutes ago, going until 11 a.m. That'll be in the parking lot of Metro Center Mall. Now, keep in mind, appointments, they are required at both of these testing events. You can sign up online. The information is listed right there on your screen. Last night, another busy night of testing with that event wrapping up at South Mountain Community College. You can see the Cliff Castle chopper flying overhead of those long lines. There was even national news out there monitoring that situation yesterday, but things definitely started to improve a bit as the day went along. Those lines much shorter, speeding up the wait times for those looking to get a test.
Now, just days after the governor pointed to a sign that positive cases are leveling off, we're also seeing signs of worse weeks ahead as hospitals and the state's largest medical examiner's office look to add more capacity to store the bodies of those who won't recover from COVID-19. The Maricopa County Medical Examiner's Office say that they need more coolers and more staff as the toll of this pandemic and the death count is adding up. The state has a fatality task force, quote, monitoring the situation. So a lot of developments as we're learning that hospitals need to also add more capacity for bodies. ABC 15 reporter Nicole Grigg has that part of the story.
It is alarming to think about hospitals having to bring in refrigerated trucks to help store bodies. However, I am told that this is part of the state's emergency plan for hospitals to be prepared. Brazo Hospital says that at this time they have ordered the trucks, but they are not needed.
It is very scary out here.
The mayor of the country's fifth largest city going on MSNBC on Friday with this news.
Maricopa County, which is our county public health agency, just announced that They are going to be getting refrigerated trucks because the Abrazo healthcare system has run out of morgue beds.
Abrazo saying that's not the case, in a statement calling it a proactive step, saying Abrazo hospitals currently have adequate morgue space. Maricopa County says the medical examiner's office is near 96% capacity. And for the first time, we're learning the state has a fatality management task force that is, quote, monitoring the situation. Wendy Smith-Reeve, the state's former director of emergency management, says the feds have a disaster mortuary operation response team if needed.
You might not need all of it, but some of that might be helpful for the system. So it helps move and process those individuals that have unfortunately succumbed to either the virus or something else. But if the systems are getting overwhelmed, that is a resource at the federal level that could be requested.
Maricopa County saying in a statement they're near capacity for body storage and they need more coolers and staff. But they said in part, quote, this is a situation that occurs almost every summer and is further complicated by the current pandemic.
It's not uncommon, especially during high heat, when you have heat-related deaths, think homeless or others that are otherwise exposed to the heat. Those conditions take a toll on your body.
Staffing for hospitals also an issue across Arizona. Last week, we were told that the state was working on a contract to bring in out-of-state medical workers. However, a week later, as of today, I am told that that contract has still not been signed. Reporting in Phoenix, Nicole Grigg, ABC 15, Arizona.
Nicole Grigg continuing to work this story for us. We thank her for that. A spokesperson for the Department of Health does say that fatality task force was activated early on in this pandemic. They say it's part of the same surge capacity planning that the state is doing with hospitals right now. The task force watches capacity of those who have died at the hospitals, medical examiners, and funeral homes.
Overworked and overwhelmed, this pandemic's death toll taking a toll on frontline workers. Just so hard to hear their stories. ER doctors say that they are understaffed and have run out of ICU beds. They're having to turn away people who are not critical enough to warrant a bed. Everyday patients die, their beds immediately filled with another Arizonan in dire need. Funeral home directors tell ABC 15 that they are booked solid for at least 3 weeks, and they say families weep because they're not able to be with their loved ones as they die. That is so tough. And the trauma, tragedy, and stories weighing heavy on all of the men and women involved.
We have a young woman who is in her 20s who was supposed to get married this summer, and then they postponed the wedding until October. She just passed away of COVID, and we are burying her in her wedding dress.
Once you're kind of driving home and thinking about it, you're just like, wow, that was a lot of death and dying that we saw.
Fortunately, PPE shortages, they're no longer a problem, but frontline workers, they're still contracting the virus themselves. Funeral homes say that they are taking extra precautions to ensure that the virus isn't spread after someone passes away.
New for you this morning. First, it was gyms, and now a group of more than 20 Arizona bars filing a lawsuit against Governor Doug Ducey, saying he didn't have the constitutional authority to shut them down last week. One of the bars joining that suit is Matt's Saloon, which is known for playing a key role in the annual Prescott Boot Drop on New Year's Eve. Now let's talk.
A Valley School District. Oh, sorry about that.
Go ahead. You take this one, Mark.
Okay. A Valley School District pushing back classroom learning until after fall break. The Phoenix Elementary School District announcing that they will not resume in-person learning until October 12th, but online courses, they're going to begin for students in K through 8 on August 6th. The superintendent saying that this decision to delay is not an easy one because of the impact that it's going to have on parents, but health and safety, that's got to be their top priority. The district's move is in line with Arizona's Education Association guidelines.
Now let's talk about that most accurate forecast as we come up on 10 minutes past the top of the hour. I told you I'd walk you through hour by hour. So here's what that warm up looks like. It's already warm to start this morning. We're in the 90s across much of the valley. We will be in the upper 90s by 9, hitting triple digits by 10 o'clock this morning already and climbing from there. At noon, we're at 106 degrees, which at any other time would seem toasty enough, but then we'll continue to climb from there, and it's going to be a scorcher today. Across Arizona, if you're looking for relief in the high country, you're not going to find a lot of it. Up in Flagstaff, warming into the low 90s today, but there is a 20% chance of rain in areas like Flagstaff and north of the rim later this afternoon. 20% chance, so scattered showers. In Sedona, ooh, toasty for you, 106 your forecast high, but you'll see some stronger breezes up there, 5 to 10 miles an hour with gusts up to 15 miles an hour, and then a mix of that in Payson. Triple digits for you, 10% chance of rain, scattered showers with gusty conditions. So I will show you how long these rain chances last and if they could creep into the valley at all, any chance of that. Plus, the hottest day of the week is still to come. I'll show you that in that full forecast.
All right, 6:10 now on your Saturday morning. Coming up, a major announcement from President Trump as he commutes a longtime friend from his upcoming prison sentence. Also this morning, how COVID will impact high school sports in the Valley coming up this fall. A lot of you have questions, and we're going to give you some answers coming up in just a minute. (6:13) and another big story that we're following for you this morning. President Trump commuting the sentence of longtime friend and former campaign advisor Roger Stone. The major announcement coming down just days before Stone was set to go to prison to begin a 40-month sentence for lying to Congress, witness tampering, and obstructing the House investigation into the Russian probe. Also, Michael Flynn's case is now on pause again. U.S. District Judge Emmett Sullivan is asking the D.C. Court of Appeals to put that matter back in his hands. The appeals court says that it will hear from the Department of Justice and Flynn's attorneys before July 20th. Until then, the case is now in limbo. Flynn used to be the president's national security advisor. The DOJ is trying to get charges against him dropped.
Tracking severe weather to our east, Tropical Storm Faye hitting the northeast overnight. That storm making landfall near Atlantic City in New Jersey. Wind and rain flooding the Jersey shore. You can see just how high that water level was sitting on those city streets. In New York, and in New York City, in fact, there were waterfalls in the subway stations as the water trickled down to the lower elevations. In other parts of New York, falling trees you can see pulling down power lines there. They've got massive power outages, and so they're buckling up as this storm continues to track across that eastern seaboard. Here in the valley, boy, what we wouldn't give for some rain, right? We are definitely in the middle of a drought right now, and we've got excessive heat. Everywhere that you see in pink is an excessive heat warning. So that's across most of Arizona, the central and southern deserts, and also off to our west. Excessive heat warning in effect through Monday. We're also watching our records. Today, that record 115, and that is our projected high temperature, so that record could fall. Tomorrow, 117. It will be the hottest day that Phoenix has seen in the last 3 years, and we're likely to topple the record that was also 115 that was set back in 2009. So it's going to be a dangerously hot weekend. You've got to take extra precautions to stay healthy and stay hydrated. Right now, the temperature is already warm. We've got 90s across the central and western portions of the valley, 90 in Tempe, 91 in Chandler and Scottsdale, as well as Peoria. Goodyear at 90 degrees. We have a few 80s holding on, though. 89 in Surprise, 87 in Anthem, 85 in Cave Creek. Same temperature right now in Apache Junction. But here's our warm up over the next couple of hours. By 10 o'clock this morning, we're already at 100 degrees, so it's already going to start to get uncomfortable early. Then by 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, I should say, 111 degrees, and then we'll reach that peak heat of the day right around 4 o'clock. At 8 o'clock this evening, it's still going to be 110 degrees. So if you're waiting to take the kids to the park until after sunset, it's still going to be very hot out there. You've still got to hydrate. Here's a look at those highs across the valley today. 115 in Glendale, Goodyear, Ahwatukee, and Chandler. 114 in Maricopa, Gilbert Mesa, and Scottsdale. 112 up in Anthem Grantham, 111 in Cave Creek, and we've got 112 from Fountain Hills through Apache Junction and out to Santan Valley today. Our temperatures right now across the state. You'll find some mild spots in Prescott this morning in the mid 60s. We're already in the upper 70s in Payson, low 70s in Show Low, Flagstaff and the Grand Canyon in the mid 50s, so at least it's a nice crisp morning for you. But look at the warm up. It's going to be hard to escape the heat anywhere in our state today. It'll be in the 90s in Flagstaff as well as Heber, 96 the high in Show Low. South of the rim, we're hitting triple digits in Sedona, Prescott and Payson today. 103 is that forecast high in Payson. We'll hit 116 in Gila Bend, 115 out in Yuma, and the hot spot in the state, Bullhead City, is going to come within striking distance of 120 degrees. Now, we are seeing some storm activity off near Gila Bend this morning and to our southwest. That's a passing storm that moved up from Mexico, and that'll continue to track out of here. I don't think we see anything from that other than a pickup in breezes here in the valley. But after 2 o'clock today, we'll start to see some isolated storm chances along the rim. Sedona, Flagstaff, Payson, Show Low, even Safford could see some isolated storm activity. Now, it could kick into the far southeastern valley foothills, but I think we still only are looking at a sprinkle, and we could also see some stronger winds pick up at times and maybe even some blowing dust, but otherwise I think we stay dry here in the valley. Tomorrow will be the hottest day of the week. That's the one we've really got to buckle up for. Remember, heat is the #1 weather-related killer, so you've got to take extra precautions to keep yourself, your kids, your vulnerable neighbors, and your pets safe. Drink lots and lots of water. On Monday, that weather action day continues as we have that excessive heat warning as well. 10% chance of rain in the forecast on Monday. It's still a little early, so we're just going to have to see what happens, but it would be a sprinkle at best. Then on Tuesday, our extreme heat starts to back off, but still very warm. 111 is that forecast high for Tuesday, and we'll start getting a little closer to normal for this time of year, but we also know that normal in July means very, very hot, Mark.
Yeah, and just a sprinkle of rain. Gosh, I was hoping we could do a little bit better than that. No, hey, come on.
I know, we're
exactly.
waiting for the monsoon. We need it so badly.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, here's the story now of high school athletes and their families. They are watching very closely how will COVID-19 impact sports in the fall. ABC 15's Colin Harmon has that story.
A glimmer of hope for the fall season as the AIA believes it can be played in its entirety and finished on time. Now, that's all predicated on the current August 17th target date for schools to reopen in person. So long as that date isn't pushed back further, the AIA fall season will begin on the 17th, and competitions can begin for golf on the 24th, badminton on the 31st, and all other fall sports, including football, the week of September 7th. And if that happens, the AIA says an 8 to 10 game football schedule can be accomplished.
As long as school is in session and you can go in person, we can put together different modifications that we think we can be able to have a sport and compete. If there is no school, that takes us right out of the mix.
Now, surveys will be sent out to all member school principals on August 4th to see which schools plan on participating. Those answers are needed by the 7th. Colin Harmon, ABC 15 Sports.
Well, professional sports in the Valley, they're back. No crowds, however, but you can still watch the Phoenix Rising taking on LA Galaxy 2. That's going to be on the CW61 tonight at 7 o'clock. You can also stream it on ABC 15 and Roku. It is 6:20 now, and your Saturday morning still ahead. The daughter of a longtime Valley swim coach sharing her dad's inspiring advice as he fights the coronavirus in the ICU.
Also, major changes in our routine and an unsure future could have your child feeling anxious. So we've got an expert to explain how to identify the signs of anxiety and hopefully prevent them too.
Plans for the new school year are still up in the air, but we do know that big changes will be in store, and that can be difficult for kids to deal with. So Allison Steyer is joining us from Southwest Human Development to help walk us through some of this. Allison, I think this could face anxiety for kids over some of these changes.
Yes, I think it's possible that there will be periods of adjustment for children, just like we had a period of adjustment when children weren't able to go to school anymore.
So I know that anxiety can be a buzzword, but we as adults certainly are more familiar with it as being something that you have to deal with, but it can look different in kids than it does in adults. So what are some signs parents should watch for?
Well, changes in behavior. So when you say to yourself, gee, my child is not behaving the way they normally do, that's always something to pay attention to. Anxious kids sometimes seem like angry kids or defiant kids. They don't have the words to talk about their worries in the way that older children and adults do. So it comes out in behavior. They might have trouble sleeping, new trouble sleeping. They might ask a lot of questions, which is really good. If kids are asking us a lot of questions about what's going to happen, we should take time and answer those questions because that helps soothe anxiety.
Is there anything that you can do to combat it on top of if it's already kind of happening, if they're already, say, suddenly refusing to go to school, they don't want to get on the bus or they don't want to eat their lunch, things like that. What can you do to balance it?
Talk to children, make the connection between their behavior and their feelings. So you can say things to kids like, I think you don't like getting on the bus in the morning, or you don't like going to your school because you're worried about it. You're not used to it. We had a big break. We were together all the time. And this is a change.
Yeah, and certainly those changes might even include wearing masks for some of them, and that definitely would be different. Is there anything that we can do to prevent anxiety from building in kids and from spiraling?
I think giving kids a lot of practice. And how do you get to preschool? Practice, practice, practice. Play. That includes themes about getting ready for school and imagining what being at school will be like. Sometimes kids can be the teacher and get a chance to try that role on. And if they say things that are worrisome in their play, you have a chance to enter in a playful way, but you have a chance to reshape the story that they have put together for themselves.
Anything to try and make it all a little bit more familiar before they get there. I know that this is such a big issue and parents will struggle with it. So if they need more guidance, how do they get in contact with you?
Well, there's a great resource here in Arizona. We're very lucky to have the Birth to 5 helpline that's open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday. And you can call the number. It's 1-877-705-KIDS. They have child development experts, and we're getting a lot of calls about transitioning back to school.
Yeah, parents and kids are going to have questions here. Allison Steyer from Southwest Human Development, always such helpful advice and guidance for parents in these uncertain times. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.